I ain't the kind who wear a tie. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says the work can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional. Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I am your very unprofessional host, Webby, and join me tonight, my right-hand man, Devin.
Hey, everybody, what's up?
And we got another special guest yet again this week, Mr. Ross Malcolm Boyd.
I am back, and I feel like I'm a little bit less special every week, and I kind of like that. It's less pressure.
No, not to twist that around on you. Every time you're on here, Ross, you're a little bit more special.
Aww.
So pressure's back on.
Damn it!
We rely on you to carry this show.
It's true. Every time you're on, our numbers shoot up, and we just took out a second mortgage, so we're gonna need those numbers to stay up.
Yeah.
So,
I am eating something, which I know Kurt gave Devin shit on Facebook about it.
and I
He's
laughed.
like every time I hear food being eaten on SU, I know it's Devin, and Devin's like, that's because it's SU's recorded around dinner time, and Webby doesn't let me eat. So,
and you can go back and watch previous episodes and see my case in point when I try not to talk with my mouth full.
I always end up calling on Devin, and then I'm just like, oh, he must not be paying attention, so we'll just skip over this and we'll come back to him.
Devin! And then he yells at me, and so I'm like, I remember.
I like to think that like you're not paying attention, or like someone just walked into your room or whatever, and you hear me yelling, so you just shovel food in your mouth, and you're like, I'm eating, rah. It's like, oh, sorry. That's your go-to move. Food. Yeah. You just have like a drawer on your desk full of noodles, like, because you're a noodle fan. You just palm a bunch of noodles in your face.
Aren't we all noodle fans?
Not really. I'm not much of a pasta person.
But what about like udon noodles or something like that?
I don't know what those are.
Ramen?
I mean, ramen's all right. I like my ramen a very specific way.
I like ramen a lot.
I like chicken-flavored ramen with a scoop of peanut butter in it.
Yes!
But
that is correct.
But see, the thing is, Ross, okay, as long as I've known you, you've always eaten ramen the same way.
Yes.
And I always thought it was strange at first. Because Ross, he eats ramen with peanut butter as well, but he doesn't add the flavor packet.
Nope, I add some soy sauce.
Yeah.
Sometimes some onions and a little bit of brown sugar, maybe.
But see, what I've found is now the one Chinese buffet place around here, and there are two of them in Manchester that I'm aware of. There's it used to be the Buffet King. I don't know what it is now. And then there's like the Manchester Buffet, which is further down South Willow Street, right?
Yep.
Now, only one of those buffet places has the chicken that I like, and that's peanut chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I found that if I have chicken-flavored ramen, I actually use the chicken, flavor packet, and then I put a scoop of peanut butter in there, it tastes just like the peanut chicken.
Excellent.
So that's how I eat my ramen. And a lot of people, they're like, ew, you put peanut butter in your ramen? It's like, dude, you know what? Go fucking try it. Get a package of chicken-flavored ramen, mix it up, and put 1 spoon of peanut butter in there and mix it all up. Tell me you don't like it.
Or just tell them to go to a Thai restaurant, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Yep. There's peanuts in everything at a Thai restaurant.
Uh-huh.
I guess I might like Thai food then, apparently.
There's peanuts in almost every dish. There's peanut curry. Peanut curry is amazing, by the way.
Yep. peanuts and spice. If you like peanuts and
Yeah, I like
spicy.
spicy food too.
Yeah, if you like peanuts and spice, Thai food's right up your alley.
My ulcer,
Yes,
my
it is.
ulcer doesn't necessarily like spicy food, but
But fuck your
Fair
ulcer.
enough.
yeah,
What does
fuck
he
my
know?
ulcer. Yeah,
What does he know?
exactly.
Last time I heard, your ulcer was Booster Gold.
Oh, did you see the art that Kurt did for us?
No.
No.
He photo. I'm pretty sure it was Photoshop, but in one of the previous episodes, it might have even been last episode. I talked about how there should be a horror movie where Booster Gold gets killed.
Yes.
And so he made a picture of Booster Gold lying on the ground, all bleeding and dying, and Hillbilly, fucking Leatherface, standing above him. It was good. It's on the Simply Unprofessional Facebook page. Anyway, so we're here because Devin chose a movie, and then determined or vouched for the fact that it should be its own episode. So we watched Cube on Netflix. Now, going into this, I didn't really have much high hopes except for Devin's high praise of this movie. And then he twisted it on me and said, it will make your inner dungeon master, itch. And I was like, all right, you're gonna, compare this to D&D. I will watch it. And I can see where you would relate it to D&D. Like you have your party of people who all have their individual strengths and some weaknesses, and they're trapped in this essentially one puzzle trap after another, and they're all trying to get out alive.
Mm-hmm.
So the movie essentially is you're in a cube, which is a smaller part of a much larger cube. And then we find out that, like, I knew right off the bat, the second I started hearing, like, the noises and stuff, I was like, oh, these cubes are moving.
Yeah.
But we find out later on that they went around in a circle because these cubes were moving. So it's like those old school puzzles where it's like you got to move one brick over and then start sliding all the other bricks around and then try to get that one brick to, like, the top or the bottom. You know what I mean?
Except that they're inside. Like they wake up in this room in this cube with no recollection of how they got there. So
well,
it's like a bunch of people.
Some of them recall how they got there. Like some of them were like, "Oh yeah, I was making dinner and I was abducted."
Pierogies!
Yeah,
Pierogies.
some just woke up and were there. But I want to start off as a Supernatural fan. The movie starts off with the gentleman who plays Death in Supernatural, bald as fuck, walking into this room and then just getting sliced into a bunch of pieces.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, some of these cubes are trapped. And we soon find out, like, this one guy's an escape artist, and he has the idea of he's going to take his boots off and throw his boots into the room and then pull them back with the shoestrings. And if something happens in the room when he throws his boot in, don't go that way because the room is trapped. Now, we should preface that each of these cubes that they're in, there are 6 different ways you can go.
Yes, there's 6 sides to a dice.
Yes. So you can go up through the ceiling into another cube. You can go down the floor into another cube or one of the sides. The guy who was like the escape artist, I really kind of had high hopes for him.
Mm-hmm.
I had high hopes for him until he gave that speech, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
he's gonna die. Like when I first saw this movie, I'm like, oh, he's gonna die now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so of the people that were there that kind of met up, you get the black cop,
Quentin.
And then he goes into a room with the guy who's originally knocked out.
I have one question, Webby. Why is Quentin a dick in every party type situation? Even in Dead by Daylight, Quentin's a dick.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Although Quentin in Dead by Daylight is like a cowardly dick, I guess. Although not nearly as bad as Dwight, I guess.
And there's Meg. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so Quentin is the black cop, and then there's the escape artist.
That's Renee, right?
Yeah, Renee or Ren.
Or Renus.
Yeah.
Ren. Yeah.
Who we find out broke out of a bunch of different jails and stuff. Then there was the female doctor.
Was that Holloway?
That was
Holloway. Yep.
Yeah. There was the younger female she's a student and she's really good at math. That was Levy. Levin.
Yeah, Levin.
Then there was the guy who was knocked out in the original cube. Who we find out he doesn't help in any situation really throughout the movie. He's just like, yeah, whatever.
Worth.
Yeah, Worth.
He wasn't worth a damn.
But then we find out that he was actually one of the architects who helped build the outer cube, like the outer shell of this structure. So really, what he brought. So each of these people bring something to the table, I guess. The escape artist kind of knew his way around sensors, and that, he kind of showed them a method of trying to get through some of these trapped rooms. The doctor, obviously, if somebody was hurt, there's always good to have a doctor. Every party needs a healer.
I forget. Was there? Did we ever get confirmation on what kind of doctor she was?
Oh, I think she did say, but I don't remember.
Well, I mean, she was also a weird character because she was also a little insane. She was a conspiracy theorist, so she was convinced that like the cube was built by the government and they're hiding them off. Like I kept thinking that maybe Holloway was going to turn out to be right about something because she worked for. Like I kind of thought that she was going to be in a similar position to Worth. Like having worked with the government and knowing what they're capable of.
Right.
But I guess it kind of turned out she was just more of a kind of a loon.
Yeah, she was just kind of a nut job.
Yeah.
And then Quentin was like started off kind of a nice guy-ish.
Mm-hmm.
He took charge. He became the leader role, or tried to be. And then we find out he's like very abusive and angry. He has like crazy anger issues.
Mm-hmm.
And that escalates later.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Levin, who her math skills come in handy because they start seeing that each cube is numbered. So this is where I started kind of getting lost, but then I started kind of following again, but then the whole thing just got erased later at the end. But for some reason it still worked for them. I don't understand. Devin, maybe you can shit. The numbers on the cube. So the
numbers on the cubes.
Now don't jump to the end yet.
I'm not. The numbers on the cubes, when she first saw them, she thought they were just numbering the cubes.
Well, yeah, but
she thought they were just specifically for numbering the cube, like, oh, this cube is this number. Because then they even made the comment of, oh, how are we gonna, how are we gonna find a way around here? Yeah. There's, 600 million rooms or whatever.
Right.
And
then she chalked it up to prime numbers.
Then she said yes. Then she said, well, the ones that are trapped are ones that have or don't have prime numbers. I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember. I
want to say don't have prime numbers.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And for quite a while, they, that theory got them through several rooms without traps.
Yeah, if they have so she theorizes that when one of the numbers is prime, the room is booby trapped. So there's 3 sets of numbers. It'd be like 654, 832, 115.
Right.
And then so she's like, if any of those 3 numbers factored out to be prime, the room's trapped. And that gets them through for a while, but then they later find out that while they're not numbering the rooms, their coordinates.
Ross is ripping tape.
Yes. Their coordinates on what they think to be like a longitude, latitude, or XY coordinates on a map. And
Yeah,
then they
Cartesian
later,
coordinate system.
the XYZ, because you have to
Yeah,
factor in
XYZ.
height too.
yeah.
Yep.
Then they go from there and they figure out, okay, not only is it that each one of these coordinates is just a dot, and it just basically it's what is it? Fucking calculating and
It circles. I believe it circled back around to
no, it's a word for it's a P math word. I'm trying to think what it is.
Pythagorean theorem.
No.
I don't. Plus.
No.
Paradigm. I don't even know if that's a math thing. Paradigm cinema.
Are you thinking of powers?
Not powers. It's for plotting points in like moving points in 3 dimensions. But whatever. Anyway, math. I beat math earlier today. It has beaten me back today.
True statement.
That's okay. So I haven't. It's been a long since I've taken calc, but that's okay. So basically, they figure out that it's those coordinates are used to plot points moving, like
Right.
moving points that are constantly moving. Then it circles back all the way around to that. Why her theory worked is not, but she was flawed. It's not prime numbers; it is factors of prime numbers.
Right. Which then she started screaming about how she would need a supercomputer to even remotely calculate numbers half that size.
Which is true, because you would have to have, like, if you have 646, you'd have to factor 646 in your head and then factor that all the way down to see if the base numbers are primed.
Right. Which they ended up finding, what was the last person that they found? Kazan, that's right.
But before we get there, I just want to mention, like, the turning point for Quentin's character was when they found out that it wasn't exactly prime numbers, because he was the one who almost got killed.
Oh yeah, his leg got cut.
As a result of that, and that was like when he started turning. At first, it was like, oh man, he's pissed off. He's yelling at everybody because he's hurt, whatever. Yeah. But it turned into more than that. Anyway, go on, Sam.
And he really had a fucking thing for Levin.
Oh,
like he wanted up in her shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
he got up in her shit.
And the doctor, the doctor called him out on it, and he fucking slapped the shit out of her.
Mm-hmm.
But then they meet Kazan, who is special.
I think he's severely autistic.
Okay, there we go.
I think that's what he actually is. Let me see.
But then they find out, like, she sprouts off one of these fucking high ass numbers, and he just mumbles out what the factor is, like, instantly. So they start using him to navigate through these rooms. Now they do make it to the edge. They open up the thing and they can see out into this vast darkness, but they're really high up. So then they send the doc out. At first, Quentin was going to go, but they all decided Quentin was too heavy because they were going to make this rope out of their clothing. Ross, what are you doing, Ross?
Oh, I'm putting things away. I'll mute and then you won't hear my rustle. Unless you want to hear my rustles. I've got some good rustles.
You have all the rustles, Ross.
I have this one is Russell Pro.
You are rustling.
Rustles.
Russ. Yeah, Ross's Rustles.
Ross's Rustles. I mean,
this one right here. This one right here is Kurt Russell.
Oh Jesus. Okay, you're fired. I was gonna name the episode Ross's Rustles, but now I might not. Just because of that joke. Anyway, they were gonna have Quentin go, but then they decided he's too heavy. So then Levin said she's the lightest, but they needed her brain.
Yeah, they knew whoever was going to go out was risking death.
Right. So
they didn't know what was going to happen.
So they sent the doctor because she's the next lightest.
Mm-hmm.
And she tries to jump out, and like they start losing their grip on stuff, and then they end up losing their grip on the clothing. And Quentin jumps out and grabs her, or grabs the clothing, starts pulling her back up, and everybody else grabs his feet. And then at the last moment, that douchebag let her go. He just drops her, and she just falls to her death. Never be seen or heard from again. And then he just sits there and says she slipped. And at first they take it at face value, like accidents happen. I guess this place is a death trap. And then right around the time where they start figuring out, things are moving around and whatever, is when they realize that. Wait, when did they realize that there should be she factors in like the fact that there should be a bridge.
Yeah, there was, because there was a cube that was outside of the coordinates, because they factored out it should be 26 by 26.
Right, and she's like, this one's showing the 27th.
This is 27th, so it was too big. Overall, I think what was it, 17,576 rooms in this place.
That's fucking insanity.
So think how big. Hold on. Let's figure out how big this thing was. The outer cube. Dimensions of the outer cube. The dimension of the outer cube is 434 feet on each side. So it has 26 rooms on each side.
How big was each cube?
Each cube, so 26 rooms on each side of the cube. That would mean 434 divided by 26. Each cube was about over 16 and a half feet on each side.
It seems... Yeah, all right. I mean, these were pretty big, pretty spacious cubes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're pretty,
All right.
So she figured that out. So, I mean, you really think about that when you look at the average. Let's do some... Hold on. Keep talking.
All right.
It's math time. It's math time.
So,
I'm gonna calculate some numbers because it's math time. Math time.
There's
Math time.
Rustling Ross's math jam. So while Devin's calculating stuff, she finds out, they start trying to navigate these mazes again, and then they come across a dead body. And the guy kicks it over, and it's Ren from when he got his face melted.
Yeah, so they ended up right back in the room they started in.
Right.
Yeah, this is the kick in the gut. If they had just everybody stayed where they were, they eventually would have made their way to
the exit.
The bridge.
The exit.
Yeah. Because the Worth opened up one of the doors where Ren had originally gone in and got his face melted, and it wasn't the same room. So they realized that this room is the one that's moving. And that this is the one that connects to the bridge, and she factors in, she calculates how long it should take before they get there. So they start going through, and then fucking Worth jams the door on Quentin's throat and like holds him there while they start, while Levin and the other guy, I keep forgetting his name.
No, Kazan.
Start figuring out which way is safe. Once they get through, Worth runs and then shuts the door and fucking tries to get through again.
And that was after Quentin beat the living shit out of Worth. Right?
Oh yeah.
And they had kind of figured out that Quentin killed Holloway.
Yep.
And like he was,
and then he was getting real handsy with Levin, and that's when Worth attacked him.
Yep, because Holloway was also the one to point out that he had a thing for young girls.
Yep.
And I don't remember if there was any reason that she knew that, if that was just
she was just probably probably speculation and insight.
Yeah, and that was his reasoning for freaking out on her specifically.
Right.
Was because she's like, "Oh, and I bet you beat your wife and kids too."
Yeah.
And he did, and he's like, "Oh, she has outside information. She's fucking lying."
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what led to him killing her.
Yeah.
Right.
So then there's a race between the three trying to outmaneuver and outrace, Quentin.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get to a point where I think Worth sets up some sort of fucking trap or something where like Quentin ends up falling through the floor into one of the other cubes.
Yep.
And then you just see him there with like blood spilling out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then they continue on. And they eventually make it to the bridge cube. Worth and Levin go through, and all of a sudden Kazan fucking moves. Like his door, he just fucking shifts. His cube shifts. So then Worth has to go and fucking. You hear him. You hear Kazan start yelling because he's fucking screaming the whole movie. And so Worth finds him. They go back. They all make it to the fucking bridge cube again. There's only a certain amount of time that they have. And then, just as they're about to start going out and stuff, fucking Quentin shows back up.
Yep.
This motherfucker, he took out my girl.
Yep.
The one that I was rooting for the whole fucking movie.
Yep.
And then Worth yells at Kazan to go, and Quentin goes to grab him, but Worth grabs his foot. And then the cube shifts and fucking smears blood all over the wall with Quentin. And Kazan gets out. And the rest of them all die. Like everyone else in the movie dies.
Yep.
So, all in all, I thought it was an alright movie. Let's talk about some of the traps in some of these rooms. So, the one where Quentin got hurt, that one was a strange one. Because it was like they had like these razor sharp like strings. And like they came up the floor around him in almost like a cylinder. And then they started to twist and he was able to duck out of the way. But then one caught his leg and cut into his leg.
Mm-hmm.
So I presume that it was supposed to go up around him. He wasn't supposed to see the strings, and then it was just supposed to twist and cut him right in half into little bits again.
All right, yeah. So let's start with the first one. We have what? You have Alderson, right?
The cold open, the very
yeah,
beginning.
the cold open Alderson.
That was like the mesh
razor wire that it was like almost it was weird. Like after it sliced, it like folded in that space and time.
Yeah,
it was like I'm out. It was like okay, so he was like a razor wire. He literally got chopped to like cubes. He got chopped in little cubes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then right after that was the acid death trap.
No.
Wasn't it? Wasn't that the one where the dude got his face melted off?
Well, that was the next death, but the next trap was the flamethrower that burnt the boot.
Ah, yeah, that's true. Flamethrower boot. Flamethrower boot.
Bam.
And then we also found out that they're not all visual sensors. Because the acid one, he threw the boot in and it was fine, so he jumped in there, and it was like a skin sensor thing.
It was a bio something.
Where it could sense, something on your skin or whatever, and then like it just
maybe body heat or
shot
something.
him in the eyes, shot him in the face with acid. It was bad.
Yeah.
What was the next one? I don't think the next one was the sound room yet.
No, I think that was later.
Trying to think.
Because I know there was a lot of them where it was like, oh, this room's trapped, and then they'd just leave. I'm trying to see. I'm trying to remember if visually they had any other traps. No, maybe the next room was just the audio room. They came across one where it was an audio censored one, where every time there was a noise above a certain, I guess, decibel, literally
spikes.
Every fucking side of this room just spikes all the way through. Which I have a question.
Yup.
Where did these spikes come from? Because all the cubes are connected to each other.
Uh-huh.
And the spikes were really long.
You know those lightsabers that collapse on themselves?
So these were collapsible spikes?
I think they're collapsible spikes. Yeah.
They didn't look like collapsible spikes, but okay.
I mean, I could answer that somewhat to a degree if you go into like I would have to go into the sequels and stuff, and it would help kind of explain a little bit of it.
Why, they had the same trap in the other ones?
No, but they had other stuff that happened in the other one, and it would make sense if this was like the early stages of it. If that makes sense.
All right. Well, in any case, this was my favorite room. It really was. I thought someone was gonna die mainly because of Kazan. Because
He almost did.
he doesn't. He's almost incapable of controlling himself, and he also hates red rooms, which is
Yes.
odd. But so they were real quiet. They made it through the room, and then Kazan went, and then Quentin went. Quentin did have quite a few near-death experiences in this movie, I suppose. He had like 2, 3, something like that. Still not justified for his actions. I'm still glad the way he died.
Yeah.
But just as soon as Quentin was making it through, Kazan like let out like just a noise, and then Quentin had to like dive through the door, because all the spikes were coming out. And then I think that was the last actual trap room that we saw.
Yeah, they came to the conclusion that they came across other trapped rooms. They're like, oh, it's trapped. But they didn't go in it, so we don't know what it was.
Yeah,
Right.
they also ran out of boots.
They did run out of boots. God damn it!
So
Somebody
Running
bring
out
more
of boots.
boots next time. Do they have more boots than Cube 2?
Probably they have more. I think they had more people in Cube 2, so probably
hmm.
they had a lot more people. Cube 2 had the biggest cast of all the cubes.
What was the name of Cube 2?
Hypercube.
Cube 2.
Hypercubed.
If I'm not mistaken, that one is like the cube is like 10 times bigger. It's ridiculously huge.
Now, question: did you finish your calculation that you were doing?
Yes, I did. This thing, I don't know where the hell they would hide it. It's literally a third of the size of the Sears Tower.
Jesus.
It's like 3.5 times smaller than the Sears Tower.
It's
like,
out in the Nevada desert somewhere where it's at Burning Man.
Like she
Yeah.
fucking said.
It's just
Out
it's
in
out at
fucking New
Burning Man.
Mexico. It's like just giant cube structure.
The thing is,
Yeah.
if it's out at Burning Man, no one's even gonna ask about it. They're gonna be like,
It's
oh,
like,
well, they
oh,
built
it's
they
fucking
built a
cute.
thing. Cool.
Dave made a
Right,
maze. Another great movie. I think you would enjoy that movie a lot, Ross. I think you would enjoy it too, Webby, but I think Ross would enjoy it more.
Which one?
Dave made a maze.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
You should check it out.
I will check it out.
Webby, there's a Minotaur in it too, so
Oh, okay, I might watch it. Devin has a way of making me watch movies just by like, oh, there's this, or oh, you can think about it like this. It's like, all right, you got me.
Yeah.
That's
I'll post a trailer for you guys to look
That's
at.
not really a minimum. I might have already seen this movie.
You may have.
I definitely haven't, but it looks fun.
It is a funny movie. I really enjoyed this movie.
Is it a comedy or horror?
It's
or what is
it's
it?
like it's comedy more than anything.
All right. Perhaps me and Ross can watch it together.
Ooh, fancy.
Bam.
Maybe we could talk about it.
All right. Calm down.
Well, that looks fun. All right, cool. Anyway, back to Cube.
Hold on, I gotta pull all my stuff back up. Now that I had Dave
Pull up
made a
your
maze.
stuff.
Dave made
Pull
a
up your
maze popped
stuff.
up. So yeah, Kazan was the only one who made it out, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the extent of Cube. It's literally these people wandering around for fucking. How long were they in there? Just. No one knows.
Probably less than 3 days.
Less than 3 days.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that. Less than 3 days, possibly more than a day. Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, because they factored in like after 3 days they wouldn't have like without food and water they wouldn't have the energy to move, right?
to move, really. You know?
It'd be almost dead at that point. So,
Well, I think they could have kept going.
they would have found the will to. They could have eaten each other.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
Let's start with Ross.
Mm-hmm.
So, given how many rooms there were in this, and the cast is what? Quentin, Ren, Worth,
8 people.
11, Kazan, Holloway, and then the death dude.
1,
so
2, 3,
it's 7.
4, 5, 6, 7. 7, yep.
So there were 7 people that we saw in this cube.
Mm-hmm.
There's 8 people total if you count the first guy. I know it was 7 including the first guy too.
Yeah, 7 including the first
Mhm.
guy.
Jesus.
Now, given the size of this cube, how many other people do you think were lost in this cube at the same time?
Oh, at the same time. I think. Let's see. I'm gonna say 9 altogether.
9 including the 7?
Yep.
So you think there were 2 other people somewhere off screen that either
Yep.
died or were still wandering around and are just in there?
Yep.
All right, Devin, what about you?
That's hard. I'm gonna say there's maybe. I'm gonna say I gotta feel like Russ. I feel like at one point there was another group that was like maybe a day or 2 ahead of them, and there's maybe 1 or 2 stragglers still alive kicking around.
Okay. And how many rooms did we say there were?
17,547.
17,527.
If I'm not mistaken, that was the answer I gave you. I will tell you. I will confirm that in 2 seconds.
I'm going to say that I feel like there were like 30 other fucking people, not including the 7 that we were focused on. Just like aimlessly walking around and just dying.
Like 4 other groups.
Yeah.
And we just got focused on 1 group.
Yeah. And I think that they were just aimlessly walking around just dying and whatever. Now, the thing is, listeners, we can't confirm any of this because it's not specified anywhere. We don't actually have a number. All of this was speculation just to drive you guys insane. So go watch Cube and then you write to me and tell me how many other people you think there are. And I'll tell you how right or wrong you are.
Well, I'm curious, how many people are in Cube 2? You said that was the biggest cast, right?
That was the biggest cast and the biggest death cast for sure. But it's weird. And I'll tell you why it's weird.
Are the cubes set up the same?
Cube 2, the cubes are bigger, but also all right, you guys want me to spoil Cube 2 for you?
Hold on.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Hold on. Before you spoil anything, I have some questions that might brainstorm or spin off into a theory. So you said the cubes are slightly bigger.
Yes.
By are they twice the size, or do they just seem a little bit bigger?
No, I'm saying the cube overall is bigger.
Okay, the cube overall. So do we actually get an outer view of this cube in Cube 2?
I can't remember off the
or
top
do they
of my
just
head.
give you more numbers and math, and they just factor it out?
This one, the second one's definitely more math heavy. It actually gets into the math, the math of building what effectively the cube is, which is a tesseract. If you build a tesseract style cube, the shit that goes on,
Right.
that would go on with that. And
Cheeky, go watch Cube. You love math.
That would even get into the state of it gets even into the state of there being. I don't want to spoil everything, but
okay, not yet.
All right. Well,
So hold on. I have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Hold on. The cubes themselves in Cube 2,
okay.
are they, for the most part, set up the same way?
Yes, the traps are definitely different, though.
That's fine. The traps can be different, but otherwise, there's a door on each side, and essentially, you just spin a thing, and you open up the door, and you.
I don't think it's like a spin thing, but yeah, effectively.
All right. I don't need to ask any more questions. I have a theory. I have a theory that our cube from Cube 1 is attached to Cube 2, and that just means there's like 70 people wandering around, and I think Cube 2 is happening incongruent to Cube 1.
So like the cube from Cube 1 is actually inside
Of Cube 2. Yes.
And like when they escape the bridge, they're just deeper into the bigger cube.
Yep.
That's good. That's a fun theory.
Yeah.
Devin, is that close?
Now Devin can ruin Cube 2.
I'm gonna say no.
Damn it.
Because this one actually gets into like weird alternate dimensions within the cubes.
I'm done.
And then there's like doppelgangers within the cubes.
What?
And there's like they have fucking traps that like they have one of the rooms is a time acceleration room.
All right.
So like there's just two couples like there's these two. I think it's like the game designer and like this hot chick. They have been like flirting the whole fucking movie.
Wait, how hot? Hotter than Levin? Because Levin was the hottest chick in this movie.
She was a child, Pat.
She was not a child.
She was a child, Quentin.
She was a college.
She was a college student.
All right, fine, but still
Yelling at me. She was not a child.
Hold on. You. Hold on a second. I'll find her. I'm trying to think who was that ate.
God, I feel so attacked right now.
You probably should, but no, you're fine.
Ross verbally attacked me.
He did. He really did.
And then Devin, for the second time today, came to my rescue.
That's it. I'm going back to crinkle thing. I'm Russ. This is Carrie.
I gotta find the fucking person who dies via. All right, I'm going to read you some of the deaths in Cube 2 as I'm going down this list because I'm looking at a website that tells you all the deaths. I'm not going to tell you who died exactly, like what caused the death, but you can assume something the Cube did. But yeah, here we go. First person's death, unknown. Second person, disintegrated by ghost wall, unknown. Then back impaled with knife, decapitation by crystal columns protruding from walls, shoulder cut / to pieces by floating cube with blades. Stomach impaled twice with knife, killed by crystal columns protruding from walls. Unknown. Impaled with a knife, hung from ladder and belt noose. Decayed via rapid aging.
Oh, there's the time acceleration room.
Yeah, that was who? That was was that the two people? Let me see. Hold on a second. Yeah, that was. Hold on, let me see if I can see what she looks like here. That was who she was. I was looking for.
I'm really sad that one of these movies wasn't called Cube Squared.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Cube 2 Hypercube is written as Cubed. Or Cube Squared is written as Cube Squared.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, before, like, I actually wouldn't. I don't know. So Cube 2 and Cube 0 are both extending the lore. It's happening in the same universe.
Yes, it's happening in the same universe. Cube 0 actually does take place in and outside of the cube. They show you both.
Oh, interesting.
Cube
That's
2,
the third one?
That's the third one. Cube 2 is more inside the cube. Oh yeah, so impaled by knife, neck snapped.
Is there a fourth cubed?
No.
In Cube
but
3.
There was talk of remaking.
There was talk of remaking.
Oh my god, why would you remake this movie? Anyway. Question about...
this movie actually won a lot of awards.
Question about Cube 0.
Yes.
You say that this one shows you in and out of the cube.
Yes.
Do we ever find out who the fuck is kidnapping people and putting them in these cubes?
If I'm not mistaken, it was either a private military company or part of the government. One of the two. The chick was actually right.
The doctor was right. Nice.
If I'm not mistaken, that's who it was.
While Devin is still searching for this hot chick so I can compare notes from Cube 2, Ross.
Yes.
If you and I woke up and were shoved into a cube like this.
Yep.
From 1 to 100%, what do you think our chances would be of surviving and making it out?
Oh, I'm gonna say like 12.
All right. I mean, that's higher than I thought.
Well, I figure like we'd give it the old college try for like at least a couple rooms, and then we'd probably like, you know what, fuck it.
Dude, I have really bad luck. The first room we'd go in, I'd die. Because the second we woke up in a cube together, I'd be like, "Oh shit, I know where we are," and then we'd open up a door, and I'd be like, "Well, I ain't letting you go first." So I'd go in, and that'd be the trap room. It's like, fuck, why am I not better at math? That's the hot chick.
Maybe I'll watch.
I don't know. 11 was pretty cute, but well,
Yeah.
I mean, she's pretty cute. All right, maybe I'll watch Cube 2. Hypercube, is that what this one is? They're all on Netflix, folks.
They're all on Netflix. I almost went straight into Cube 2.
I'm not gonna lie, I did too, but I was like, nah, I can only handle so much Cube.
Cube 2 is actually, I actually enjoy Cube 2 because it's a mindfuck of a movie more so than like people wandering around. It's kind of a mindfuck of a movie. And then Cube 0 is where they really try to establish plot. It works and doesn't work at the same time.
Well, I mean, I was trying to by the end of Cube, like I was a little my first thought at the end of the movie was like, oh, that could have been 45 minutes. It had some really neat ideas, but like effectively it didn't go very many different places once what was going on was established. It didn't really strive to answer any questions. But by the end of it, I didn't know, like, the reason I didn't go ahead and watch Cube 2 is because maybe I wasn't supposed to get answers, like maybe that's not what it was about.
I would say you definitely, I'll say this. At the end of Cube 2 Hypercube, they leave it vague intentionally. They don't reference I don't think they ever reference directly the first Cube, but the end of Cube 2, they say this is the last line I think uttered in the movie is phase 2 is terminated.
Fucking spoilers.
So there you go. People get over it. They say phase 2 is terminated. So they leave it up vague where you can infer and like, okay, is it not,
Right. But yeah, it was there was some stuff in this movie that I really dug. I really liked Quentin's turn. Because like at the beginning I was so rooting for Quentin. And like Worth was like,
I wasn't.
Worth was like this. No, because he was like, no, we're gonna get through this. I want to see my daughters. Like, it was cool. And like he started connecting with Levin, and I kept thinking, oh, maybe like he kind of sees her as his daughter. Like, there's that connection there.
She's not a child, Ross.
But no, I saw that, and like I got like so invested in Quentin as the hero. Like he was the character that I felt most connected to. And then when he makes his turn, like I did not see that coming.
I really like Quentin. The one thing that bothered me about him though is his repeated using the line of, which is just bad script writing, of it's my job to see people like an X-ray.
Yeah,
read people like an X-ray.
Yeah. Well, see, okay. Here's my problem.
Who are you?
Here's my problem with Quentin. Okay, is I thought he was predictable, and as he was really suspicious early on. Which, okay, he's the cop. He's trying to figure out who these people are, to figure out who he can rely on. In the long term of it all, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Well, he also was kind of pointing out that we must all be here for a reason. I think he was the one who kind of caught on to that.
Right.
He was trying to figure out who everybody was and what their role was in this group.
And see, like, and then he like Devin said, there's like only so many ways he could say, I have the highest insight of the group. I can read people like an X-ray. And I was just like, I don't know. This guy's trying to insight the cube. It's not going to work.
Yeah. He tried using the Atticus defense. It didn't work.
Yeah. Nope. I think, okay, so Levin was my favorite character. I was rooting for her from the beginning.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think Worth was my favorite character for the longest time. And until he's okay. Here, this is gonna sound terrible. Yeah. Worth was my favorite character when he was being useless.
Yeah.
And then when he started actually being like the heroic type, I was like, nah, all right, he's just gonna die now.
Well, no, I get that because like he was a really fun character when he was useless, and I really thought that he was going to be the villain. Like it kind of felt like, oh, he's gonna have something to do with this. He's gonna,
Right. You thought this was like one of the Saw moments where it's like, oh, this is the first character we find, and he's just knocked out because he got hit in the head. And now he's just kind of hanging in the back, and then at the very end, he's gonna be like, "Haha, I invented this cube. You're all stuck in here."
He's been like conducting the experiments from the inside, watching everybody really closely from the start. But like I agree. I think he was a more fun character to watch when he was useless. But I also really liked how like he felt like he and Quentin both had arcs. Quentin kind of went. Well, I wouldn't even say that Quentin was an arc. Quentin, we discovered more about Quentin. Quentin revealed himself to the audience, whereas Worth really did, he did have a solid character arc where he started off like kind of like really cynical, and he ended, trying to save everybody. Like he was making those heroic strides. So I thought it was cool that he had that arc. But yeah, I think he was more fun when he was a little shit.
Yeah, when he just didn't care, when he wasn't being, participating in anything.
Yeah.
Devin, who's your favorite character in this movie?
My favorite character in this movie is probably, honestly, it's probably Levin. I really liked her from the beginning. She was always very logical about everything, and just like, I think out of everyone, she kept her shit together the most.
She did. She was. I mean, she had
for her to be a teenage, college age, kid. Effectively, she kept her shit together way better than all the adults.
Yeah. Oh, I love that line where like everybody was talking about how hard life is or something like that, and she kind of interjects. She's saying, I felt like I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders since like whenever." She just kind of made like some quit crying. Like it's hard for all of us sort of comment.
Right.
Which I really dug. It was like, yeah, that's right.
I did really like though when Kazan just like he's like I just need to pee.
Yep. He just whips it out and just starts pissing. Yes.
Yes.
I did like Kazan.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Fun.
I mean, yeah. Looking at the filmography for the person who played Kazan, his name is Andrew Miller. Not a lot under his belt as far as like well-known things, but
I think he's probably the best actor in the whole movie.
I agree to that. Oh, for sure. I mean, unless we find out like he really does suffer from that whatever you said it was, I don't think he does.
Personally I love his 2008 movie Imaginary Bitches.
I was just gonna say he's in a movie called Imaginary, or in a TV series called Imaginary Bitches.
Oh gosh, yeah. He was a writer on that. Like he's done a lot of writing and directing, I think.
Yeah. Well, now we know what Kazan did when he escaped the cube. He went on to be a writer.
And he saw Imaginary Bitches.
Yep.
There you go.
No, he thought the entire cube thing was all in his head. So he wrote a sitcom about imaginary bitches.
Yep. Bam. He also played in a movie called Booze Can.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's really it. I mean, he doesn't have nope. All right, favorite role in a movie called Perfectly Normal in 1990. He played the pizza guy.
There you go.
It looks like he's. When is this? I'm looking for.
Oh, he was in the TV movie Tremors in 2018.
I'm looking at that right now. I think he writer. Yeah, he wrote the this reboot of Tremors.
No, it's not a reboot. They just keep making
It's
those
not?
movies. No. The
That's
original
not-
guy, the original like fucking that is his movies now.
The dude with
The
with the
original-
mustache, the
The
guy
dude
with all the
mustache,
guns.
who was like hoarding all the guns. That is
Yeah.
his franchise. He's been in every one of those things, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. But it looks like this one, this TV movie is a reboot.
Yeah,
They got
this particular
Kevin
one
Bacon
in
back for it.
yeah
Oh, it
in
is?
2018, it's a television reboot of the film Tremors.
Noise.
Yeah, they did get Kevin Bacon.
Oh, it looks like it didn't get picked up.
Oh,
A full pilot had been produced. I don't know. I don't know what the status is, but I want to know. Damn it! Come on, IMDb, get your shit together.
damn it,
What's going on?
IMDb.
Well, it's a TV movie, so why would it get picked up? It's a TV movie.
Maybe they're trying to turn it into a series. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was the goal. But I'm not getting any details.
Well,
The
one
most
thing,
important part is that they got Kevin Bacon.
they got Kevin Bacon.
That's the important part here.
one thing I do have to say.
Kevin
Devin,
Bacon's awesome.
no,
Okay.
Devin,
Yes.
I owe you an apology, sir.
Why?
Live on SU, I'm apologizing to you, my friend, because you were right. As little as what happened in this movie, because like what Ross says, after I was done watching this movie, I really felt like, I could have gotten the gist of that in like 30 minutes. Like you could have just told me the whole thing, and I would have been like, good movie. It was short. I liked it. Two things. First, hands down the best movie we've watched out of all the ones we've watched so far.
Oh, he's by leaps and bounds.
For sure. Leaps and bounds.
This one I might even consider a movie.
Yes. So first off, great pick. I'm glad you picked it. Second, where the apology really comes in is it has been about an hour already, so it really did deserve its own episode.
Woo! I thought this was a really good pick too. Doing horror movies. This was kind of a curveball. It's more than just a horror. It's got
it's like a suspense
psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's my favorite type of horror movie. Like I like horror movies a lot. Like I love a good slasher flick, don't get me wrong, but I love more psychological horror and like psychological thriller horror movies. That's my sweet spot.
Hell yeah.
Now see, okay, I have a question. So again, I'm not great with like horror genres or whatever, because I'm not a horror movie fan. So we talked a little bit last week about how like there's the slasher like you gave me the actual description of it, but like there's like the grindhouse style movies where it's like, you just go, you turn it on to watch people get fucking chopped up and just gallons of blood fly everywhere and like plastic faces get smushed and it's gore. That's all you're turning this on for. And then there's like the psychological thrillers.
Yeah, so like I'm looking at a top 10 or not top 10, but like a 21 types of horror movies out there.
Okay, now hold on one second. What would, out of all the horror movies I've watched, at least in recent history, I suppose, the last few years, so all of the ones we've watched for SU this month, and all the ones we did last year, which I will say last year, like I had seen the original Friday the 13th before, but we rewatched it last year. Last year was my first time watching the original Halloween movie. I gotta say, Halloween was probably my favorite one that we've done so far.
Halloween is a fantastic. Well, Halloween, the first Halloween.
The first Halloween
is
movie.
A great and amazing, horror film.
That's the type
in a lot of ways. It's the perfect horror film. It plays right down the middle of a slasher and almost psychological horror movie.
So okay, that was my question: is what would the genre of that particular franchise be? For the original Halloween movie.
For me, I put it like I just said. I think it's definitely a slasher movie, but it's
like a psychological slasher.
Almost, because it's about more so, and it plays off even better in this new movie coming out, where you see Laurie as she is basically described as a person who got over a trauma.
Right.
And not just like her being like, no, just like her being stalked by this particular individual and trauma and things like that. So it's like you play it out and you're like, okay, where like horror movies and stuff, like slasher movies, there's usually the point where it's like, okay, this guy is coming after us. He's unbeatable. We find a way to do it. We escape. That movie was more so like he was chasing after you, but he was coming after you. He was almost at different points in that movie. He was almost like a representation of the way they were feeling and in the way of their mind state almost.
Right.
Like Laurie was, you can play it up like originally, like Laurie, she was like, the innocent virgin at first and things like that. And he didn't really take interest in her until she started having those other thoughts and everything like that. Then he takes more interest and he starts following her, and then he starts doing all the other stuff. It all plays into really cool. And I think still the opening scene of Halloween is one of my favorite any horror movie ever. Just the where we see a young Michael kill his sister.
Yep. And
the thing about it is though, you get that nice unedited shot, that one shot of him, and he walks outside and the parents just pull off the mask and we see, then we finally come to the realization, it's not a crazed psycho killer. It's like a 10-year-old boy with a kitchen knife and a clown mask.
Yeah.
And you have that happen. And I mean, so that's psychological within itself.
And see, that to me, that's my favorite. Like, I say it's my favorite type of horror movie. It's that type of horror movie is the one that would unnerve me the most, and actually like that I would consider like, I need to like mentally prepare to sit down and watch this movie, otherwise I'm gonna fuck myself over.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sleep for a week.
Like,
because there's killing.
It can happen.
Yes, there's killing, there's slashing, there is blood, whatever. But like you said, he stalks people. It's the you open up a door and all of a sudden there's this dude wearing a fucking mask. It's like, oh my fucking Christ, what the fuck? And then he impales you with a kitchen knife and sticks you to a wall.
Or he's like that one, or it's like that one, like where it's he makes you second guess yourself. Like you close a door and you leave, and you come back and the door's slightly ajar. You're like, I thought I closed that. That kind of thing. Like a Jason never makes me feel like that.
No. See, the Jason movies. Okay, out of like last year we watched the Jason, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and then we did like a little collaboration one where we just like talked about all of the runner-up movies that we didn't get to. When I watch Friday the 13th movies,
you almost root for Jason.
I always root for Jason. Because Jason is literally hunting down stupid fucking teenage campers.
He's hunting down stupid teenage campers who 90% of the time are dicks. Like outside of like one or two of them, they're all dicks.
Yes, exactly. So every single time I'm rooting for Jason.
Yeah, but it's like in Halloween, you feel for Laurie Strode. She is just a girl. I think Jamie Lee Curtis said it best in a recent interview in the new one. She's like, I don't think Laurie Strode's defined by what happened on that night. She's defined by what happened that next day. Because her parents came home, said, you know what, you're okay, you're alive, you go to school, and you go to school, and she went to school, and she went from sweet innocent Laurie Strode to walking down the hallways being this pariah of everyone whispering about her and saying things. And you think about that and you're like, damn, that's probably true. Like her parents probably did say, you're okay, go to school.
Yeah.
And she probably did walk down the hall and she became this social pariah of like, oh, that's the girl that survived Halloween night. Oh, that's Laurie Strode. Oh, that's that. And she's no longer, she can no longer be innocent. Her innocence was ripped from her. So you kind of have that. And it's, and that's more realistic than anything, really. That's the more realistic thing. And even then you break it down and you look at it, Michael Myers he's never been more than a guy in a mask. Like they try to make it more, And
Well,
in the
I mean,
later
he
movies,
did get in the first one. He did get shot, and he still got up and walked away.
He did. He gets shot. But the thing is this though, like
But
as
who
you,
hasn't?
Well,
yeah, I mean, the
I
thing
know
is,
lots of
like,
people who haven't.
to be fair, to be fair, I mean, he got shot. He flipped over the balcony. He's always been portrayed as tough and motivated,
Unstoppable, like
on stuff. But he's never been proven more than human. He
Right.
is just a human.
right.
He is just human. You can kill him. It is hard, but you can kill him. Like you can't kill Jason. You can temporarily stop Jason.
One of the things
Jason
that I
always
think
comes back.
going into the new movie that it's going to be coming out, I think it comes out this Friday, right?
It comes out tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes out tomorrow.
Going into this new movie, one of the things that from the previews already kind of fucking freaks me out and already gets in my head is this happens 40 years later or something?
Yep, it's real time ish. But
Yeah. So it happens 40 years later or so, and he's in an institution, so he's been caught. Okay, since that time, so there's not anything supernatural about, like you said, this guy. He's never been proven to be anything more than human. There's nothing supernatural about him. He was caught. He is restrained. You know, we haven't seen the movie yet, so something happens where he obviously gets loose again. But even the first movie, he was sent to a psych ward as a child, and he
spent his
escaped.
entire life there. He escaped, and we later find out in one of the other movies that doesn't exist anymore. But we found out later in one of the other movies that how he escaped was that there's one guy in the scene that's kind of giving Loomis shit. Actually, was a part of a cult that worships Michael Myers. We find that out later, and he actually helped Michael escape. But
I don't know if I like that theory.
I don't like it either. It's no longer canon, so it's fine. But yeah, I mean,
I just like the idea of like the hospital got overran by fucking crazies, and they all just kind of got loose, and this guy was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time, and he not only that, possibly the worst person to get out got out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's movies like that that really get into my mind, like that make a great horror movie for me. Like Cube, okay, Cube is technically, I guess it's a horror, it's a thriller or whatever. It made me think, not much. Like they started talking about all the math and stuff, and I was like, "No, you lost me. That's okay. I'll trust what you say."
Webby and math don't mix.
They don't. But movies like Nightmare on Elm Street. The only reason that like I have a personal thing with Freddy Krueger is because of like a trauma that happened when I was a child. And other than that, when I watch those movies now, they're laughable. Like I don't know. It's like I remember watching the new Nightmare on Elm Street when Rorschach played him. And I was like, whatever, this is dumb. Like, I don't get it. And like, he is a supernatural being.
The fucked up part about that is like he was able to come in the real world. Like they made it as they were all actors in a movie, and he's able to come in the real world and attack the actual actors that played the people in the movie. And it's like, okay, you made him real to me, but at the same time, I don't care.
Right.
Like he doesn't have that same feel.
You know, another movie I still can't watch because of childhood trauma is the fucking Leprechaun movies.
I was gonna say Lord of Illusions.
Nah, man, that one really fucking bit the bullet for me. I don't know. Like, I'm still a wuss when it comes to horror movies, but like my type of horror movie that I think I appreciate the most would be ones like Halloween.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, every time we play Dead by Daylight, that's why he's my killer, man. I like Michael Myers.
Well, Halloween is also like arguably kicked off the slasher genre, right? Or at least it was like very influential on that. And it was the kind of the revival.
Yeah.
Of the slasher movie, like
what was the very first horror movie ever made?
The first horror movie for slasher movie.
First horror movie.
It was it was not Nosferatu, but maybe but in that silent film era. Like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari or something like that.
All
Hold on,
right.
so
I don't know.
first horror
Any
movie
idea?
First horror movie.
I mean, my vote would have been probably Nosferatu.
The first horror movie on record is Les Manoirs du
Oh,
Diable.
I don't fucking trust French movies.
Ah,
That was the first one, and that was in 1896.
wow, yeah.
No,
It translates roughly as the Devil's Castle
whatever.
Nice.
or the Manor of the Devil. If
What was
you
the,
wanna
what
read
was
it
the
that
first
way.
American horror movie? The French don't know what they're doing.
Frankenstein,
Oh, all right.
1910.
That was another movie that I mean, I guess it is a horror movie. I don't see that as a horror movie anymore.
It is. It's a monster. Well, monster movies kicked off horror movies originally.
Yeah, all right.
You know, you had the Phantom of the Opera. You had Frankenstein. You had Dracula. You had Nosferatu. You had the kind of the creature feature. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
the fucking the swamp. What is it? It came from the swamp or some shit.
Oh, you know what movie we should watch, Ross?
What?
I watched the beginning of this movie. It was fucking terrible.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
No, the
Damn
Toxic Avengers. Remember that?
Man. Oh man, I feel like I saw that years ago.
Right?
That was a trauma thing, right?
I don't know. A guy walks around and beats people with a mop.
A
Yep.
98-pound nerd from New Jersey lands in a vat of toxic waste and becomes a benevolent monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I watched the
that's,
beginning of this fucking movie. It was fucking grotesque. Seeing his
That's a-
fucking face melt off.
It's a trauma.
You know what the
movie.
first horror movie I ever saw was?
What?
What was it? The Elephant Man. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, dude, no joke. That fucking. I watched a documentary on like the real life Elephant Man. It kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
I was really little when I watched it.
I'm trying to remember what the first horror movie I saw would have been.
Mine was. I can tell you right now. Mine was Nightmare on Elm Street,
I can tell you what mine was.
and it wasn't on purpose. I was forced to sit down and
I
watch
can
it.
tell you what mine was. Mine
It might
was.
have been Candyman for me.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a gooder. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first horror movie was technically The Shining.
Nice.
Still, it's
It took me a while
Really?
to see that one.
yeah. It's
One
on
of my
Netflix.
favorite horror movies of all time, The Langoliers. You won't find it. I love The Langoliers and their bad CGI. It was
we watched
it was
that
a
in
miniseries.
high school.
a mini series on Sci-Fi by Stephen King,
Yep.
and it's wonderful. It's so wonderful.
That's one way to describe it.
It's so wonderful.
Oh, actually,
3 hou-
Ross.
It's 3 hours long, and it's so wonderful.
Ross. Because I haven't watched it yet, and I don't think you have. I think Devin has. One thing I want to do with you. Devin has me hooked on this fucking YouTube thing. It's like, I don't remember what they're called, Devin, but it's like, oh, we're gonna like really quickly go through this movie and tell you everything. CinemaSins. So we're gonna sit down together and we're gonna watch the CinemaSins of the movie It, and then we're going to watch the movie It. And we're going to laugh our asses off at how fucking stupid it is.
Wait. Which It though?
The newest one.
Oh, the newest one?
Yes.
That movie's good though.
Well, I'm sure, but I watched the CinemaSins part of it, and it made it seem ridiculous.
Because I mean, the original. We're watching the original, and it had been.
Yeah, and the original it turns into a giant fucking spider at the end. It wasn't good. No, we're gonna watch the CinemaSins thing together. So don't link it yet. Okay.
That's not what I'm talking about. Different CinemaSins.
Oh, I'll watch this after the thing. Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh man, that looks good. That face. Who wouldn't love that face?
One of my favorite horror movies of all time is Cabin in the Woods. Fantastic movie.
I still need to see that. It kind of
fucking tastic movie.
I think I've seen it.
It's kind of a meta look at.
It's
horror.
meta, but it's also so perfect.
Nice.
So here, real quick, running through horror film genres real quick. This is not like a definitive list. This is just like a list that people have added, which, I mean, so far I haven't seen anything that's questionable. First one is Possession. Movies like, The Right, The Exorcist.
Poltergeist.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, all right.
So like Possession, like where you have a physical being being possessed by something else.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Exorcism of Emily Rose, The Exorcist, right? Yep.
That's the type of movie I can't watch those movies.
Yeah, no,
Those movies really fuck with my head.
Fuck those movies. All right. Then we have next one is psychological. Like Seven, Shutter Island, The Silence of the Lambs.
I like those.
I like all the. Those are my favorite kind of psychological horror movies. Are my favorite thing ever.
Yep.
Then you have this, the classic slasher movie. We all know what a slasher movie is.
For those of us who don't, can you give us a couple examples?
Sure. Freddy Krueger. You have
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That has its own category. Actually, it's kind of a funny category too. Is also it's a slasher, but it also falls in another category. But you have Michael Myers, Jason, Scream, whatever. Ghostface, I mean, sorry. Found footage is another one. In point of view, not my favorite one.
All right.
The Blair Witch Project was ass.
Now hold on. Hold on. I have one thing to say about everybody always hates Blair Witch Project, blah blah blah. I do. I have one thing to say. First, yes, I agree. The movie sucked.
If you say somebody was hot, I swear to God.
No. Fuck. I think the only girl that you saw in the entire movie had fucking snot dripping down her nose and shit when you saw her. I don't know.
Probably.
You don't think that's hot?
I mean, maybe a little bit. Anyway, no. Okay, the movie was not good. But it is one of the movies that scared me the most out of all horror movies I've ever seen.
Because you have a woods in the back of your house that look just like it.
That's not what scared me. Like,
no, I know. It's the last scene.
It's the very last moment right before they cut the movie off, where they walk into the house or down into the room or whatever, and the guy's just standing in the corner. That's it. For whatever reason, freaked me out.
Guy standing in the corner freaks out Webby. Got it.
Devin, think about it. Remember, what did I tell you about Pet Sematary?
I know. I love Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary would not normally freak me out, but it was that one fucking scene with the grandmother where he opened up the door and the grandmother's just rocking in her chair and then comes running around the bed.
My favorite thing, though, about Blair Witch, the first Blair Witch Project movie, was not the movie itself, but they did a fake documentary to promote the movie, and I thought that was brilliant. And it was basically like this crew is interviewing people from the town where this happened after the footage was found, and talking to local people about the legend and stuff like that. And it was a really clever thing. It was about a 45-minute documentary. And I really, really dug it, and I got really excited to see the movie. And then I saw the movie, and the movie sucked.
You're like, damn, that documentary was better than this shit.
It was better than the movie theaters. Because it totally played up the lore, and
you're like the movie should have been the trailer for the documentary.
Right? It got you exactly. You should you get the same way that you might get worked up over an unsolved mystery episode or something like that. Something really.
Oh, that's a callback. God, I haven't seen that show in forever.
That's weird, and man, you kind of just inferring the horror and kind of just man, you look at shadows a little bit differently for the rest of the night. That kind of thing. Just kind of places ideas in your head and lets you take over from there. I thought that was really, really great.
Yeah.
I did watch some other over the past couple of weeks. I'm staying with friend Judy Pancoast, who is a huge horror movie fan, and throughout October she just watches a horror movie every night. So constantly in the house that we're staying at, there's a horror movie going on. I saw The Fog for the first time really recently, a couple nights ago, and that was great. That was fucking great. It is all atmosphere. It's John Carpenter. It's all tone, atmosphere. The basic plot is this ship.
The Fog.
Yeah, The Fog.
For a second, I thought you were talking about The Mist. I'm like, the movie was awful.
Which one had Tom Welling? Didn't one of them have Tom Welling in it?
Tom Welling was in the remake of The Fog.
Oh.
Which I have not seen.
Okay.
I'm like, that movie was awful.
I was like, Superman's in this. I know Clark
I was
Kent's
like
in
breaking
this.
that down in my head. I was like, okay, am I thinking about the wrong movie? No, that's the movie. That movie's terrible.
But The Fog was great. Fright Night was great. I watched that for the first time recently. And I have seen it many times before, but Lost Boys is just
I love
fun as
Lost
fuck.
Boys. Yep.
That is so fun.
I love Lost Boys.
That's a good one.
All right, so what's the next genre, Devin? You were going
Next
through a list
genre is
after found footage.
Is Ghost. You know, like
Poltergeist.
13 Ghosts, Poltergeist.
Yeah, another one that I'm not a big fan of.
Yep. Booby chick in the bathroom.
Yep.
Scared him.
It really did.
Next one's Zombie.
And she was hot too, but it was just those eyes.
Those
really freaks me out.
Eyes, those horrible yellow eyes.
Zombie
My favorite
movies.
movie and my favorite line ever out of any movie is just Aunt fucking May. Those eyes, those horrible yellow eyes. Fucking love that, man. Anyway, zombie movies. You know, I mean, overplayed in recent years. Overplayed and usually played up for more action now than horror. Like you don't watch a Resident Evil movie and ever get scared.
Right.
You know, it is what it is. Shaun of the Dead is possibly the best zombie movie of all time, but
Yup.
that's a separate issue we can debate another day.
Dawn of the Dead is way up there, and I'm a really big fan of Return of the Living Dead.
Okay, fair.
Still,
You know what?
Still not as good as Shaun
I
of the
think
Dead.
my favorite zombie movie, just for what it is 21 Days Later, or 28 Days Later.
So yeah, that one, I really dug that movie.
And I'm not a fan of
military
fast
got
zombies,
involved.
but that one,
Right.
that one's good.
It was an effective movie. I
That's a good
dug that a lot.
And 28 Weeks Later has actually a solid sequel, which is pretty
I
good.
haven't seen the sequel.
Not bad, really good.
Cool.
Next one, you know, Haunted House. Classic haunted house movies. The movies my mom hates the most, and they're the ones I always make her watch.
The Haunting.
Yes. The Haunting, Insidious, The Conjuring,
House on Haunted Hill.
The House on Haunted Hill, specifically The House on Haunted Hill, The Last House on the Left, The Shining, Poltergeist, you know, that kind of shit. Urban Legend, you know, When a Stranger Calls. Another one of my favorite movies. Urban Legends. Candyman.
I will say one of those movies. I don't even know if they made a movie out of it, but one of the urban legend ones that gets me the most, fucking Bloody Mary. That urban legend fucking gets me.
It's kind of the Candyman.
This is gonna be weird as fuck. I have had this not a recurring dream, but like this recurring thought or like memory as a child of seeing a Bloody Mary show or a Bloody Mary movie, and it wasn't like a terror. It was literally Bloody Mary took the form of like a Raggedy Ann doll almost, but like she was holding a butcher knife and had blood running down her eyes. And I cannot for the life of me fucking place this image. I don't necessarily want to because I'm not a fan of dolls. Like fucking creepy porcelain dolls that does it for me. Like fucking, I can't watch Annabelle. I refuse to watch Annabelle to this fucking day, and I won't do it. That'll be the issue I set out. That's my voucher. I saved my voucher for fucking Annabelle. Like Devin, all right, you have options. You can watch Annabelle, or you can take a nail gun and drive it through your knee. I'm like, give me the nail gun. Give me the fucking nail gun. Let's do this. But yeah,
have either of you started watching the Netflix show, the Haunting of Hill House or whatever it's called?
Yes.
I watched the first episode and I was really into it.
Me too. I'm episode 4 or 5 right now.
Nice.
I'm gonna tell you a little. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's not a slow burn. But what it seems like the format is, every episode is following one of the siblings, like when they were kids and how they got to where they are now.
Interesting.
So, and then I guess there's going to be like a reconvening at like a later episode. I'm guessing like maybe 6 or 7.
Sure. Yeah.
You know? But for like, it seems to be every episode follows one of the siblings and how they got to be where they are today and things like that. So just
cool.
It's definitely worth watching so far. Like
Nice.
I very much enjoy it. Actually pretty creepy too. There's some scenes in there are some jump scares in those. I'm like, oh shit, they got me.
Yeah.
I remember
the first
one really
I
got me.
dug.
Yeah, it was really good. The first one was really good.
it set everything up. It really established that tone, and I really like that. And this is that mild. I'm not going to say anything specific, but mild spoiler, just in terms of discussing like the flow of the episode. But it really kind of washes over you. It just kind of sets this very gently unsettling tone through the whole thing. And at the end of the episode, something happens, and it's like so fucking effective because
that's
like
that's the best way to say it. That's the best way to say it. It's a bunch of little small shit in that movie that in that show that doesn't really get you, but it sets a tone. It's like whereas a lot of horror movies like they go for like multiple crescendos. This one just sets a slow build to a crescendo, and it works really well. I really liked it. I really like it. I really got to finish it up. I'm watching it with my mom. That's what's taking me so long because we can't match our schedules up.
Right. Yes.
But that's what's taking so long. But I'm okay with that. I think it's great. I think that's great. It actually really reminds me of, and this is not a particularly great movie. I enjoy it. Again, kind of like The Langoliers, Rose Red. Rose Red is actually it's a mini series. That is not. I was actually thinking we could have fucking do this one year for SU because it's literally I think 3.5 hours long. It's 3 episodes. I think they're each a movie. It's 3 movie length episodes. If I'm not mistaken, how many minutes is it? It is 255 minutes.
Okay.
So 4 hours. It's literally 4. We can literally spend an episode talking about an hour. Like
right. That was a Stephen King thing.
It was a Stephen King thing, and it was. I really liked it. I really fucking liked it. And it was followed up by another movie that I never watched, The Diary of Ellen Rembauer. I never watched that one, but Rose Red is really nice. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't particularly received well, I don't think. That got good airs though. But I'm trying to think. It wasn't amazing, but it was really good. It was cool. I enjoyed it. If you enjoy a good spooky it just set a weird tone at the beginning of it, kind of like what you described. It set a really weird tone, and just kind of allowed it to set in.
Yeah,
and then they kind of built up to creepy shit, and then I'm probably gonna. I think the last hour or 45 minutes or an hour got a little hokey, but other than that, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Sure, I think. The third act of horror movies seems really, really difficult.
It is because you either get it right or you fail miserably. That is pretty much how it goes in every horror movie.
And getting it right just seems so difficult because, if you over-explain something, it can be disappointing. The mystery is.
But then if you go too vague, it's people feel unfulfilled.
Right.
Yeah. It's not. And see, that's going back to Halloween. That's why it works so well, I think, because it's set up at the beginning. It's no, he's just fucking crazy. He's crazy, and he has this obsession with his old neighborhood, his house, his family, and that's kind of what it is. And they set it up, and they don't need to do any more explaining than that. You get it, you feel it.
Right. Sweet.
Yep. All right. Next one, Cat and Mouse. So these are The Strangers, Straw Dogs, kind of where you're those movies where one of my favorite ones actually it's Hush on Netflix. Really interesting movie. Really interesting.
Isn't she
movie.
Deaf or something?
She's deaf, so the movie is really silent. Actually, there's not a lot of talking in the movie because she's deaf, and she's being stalked by this guy. But because she's deaf, he's making noise. She can't hear it.
Yeah,
and it's a really cool movie, and she manages to fight back. It's really cool. I really enjoyed that movie. It was it was a good movie. I watched it on Netflix.
Nice.
It was really I enjoyed it. But so that kind of cat and mouse genre. That's a good genre.
That's reminding me of what is the Audrey Hepburn movie? Wait Until Dark. She's blind in an apartment, and somebody is trying to break into the apartment and kill her. So a lot of the movie is
in darkness.
In darkness, exactly.
I love movies that do that give you the perspective of of kind of your protagonist who has a disability.
Yeah. And it was Wait Until Dark was cool because having her being blind kind of almost gave her the advantage in this movie in some ways,
She
because
fucking
she could
Daredevil.
navigate. Exactly, she can
She's
navigate
fucking
in the dark.
Daredevil.
Exactly, the killer's gonna have a tough time in this power outage.
It's like, come on.
Yeah, bring it.
Fucking beats his ass with her stick. Come on.
Yeah.
My city. Anyway, your guys' favorite movies, revenge movies. Or if you want to have a separate category, the rape revenge movies. Yay. Yeah, fuck those movies. Backwoods / redneck. This is where Texas Chainsaw Massacre falls in.
Right.
And
I love how that gets its own category.
I mean, there's a lot of movies
Hey,
for it, though. Like,
let's get Webby and Where Webby Lives and make that a horror movie category. You fucking redneck, fucking backwoods motherfucker.
That's what's the movie? Tucker and Dale.
Fucking my favorite one of my favorite, hands down, favorite movie ever out of all movies. I love that fucking movie. I made my dad sit down and watch it, and he enjoyed it. That's classified as a horror movie too. It's weird.
Yeah,
but
it's
good. Tucker and Dale
good.
versus Evil. I fucking love that movie.
That is a good movie. I love that movie too.
Yep.
All right. The next one is Psychopathic. That'd be like American Psycho.
Psycho.
There you
Psycho.
go.
Yeah.
Psycho, American Psycho. Yeah, all that fun shit. Those movies. Then you have, the creature feature, the monster movies.
Would Silence of the Lambs fall into that, or is that
would psychological? That's more psychological.
Okay, yeah.
Now, what about? Well, I guess
I would say Red.
I was gonna say, what
Dragon.
about Red Dragon? Because he was kind of a psycho.
Red Dragon falls in the psychopathic and slasher territory.
Yeah. / Manhunter.
Yeah. That was good though. That was good.
Yeah.
Vampire movies. You have your vampire movies. Like
Werewolves.
that's a subcategory of monster. But there's so many vampire movies out there. Where like 30 Days a Night, one of my favorite vampire movies actually.
I still want to watch that show that you linked me before, but I can't find it.
What's the show?
I don't know, the one where the one dude's in like the closet and he's always hanging upside down and shit.
Oh, that's on Netflix.
It's not on Netflix. I've looked.
Hold on.
I forget the name of it. It's like
the one with the really old like Nosferatu dude in the basement. Like it's like the
and they're doing like a documentary on these vampires.
Yeah, talking about What We Do in the Shadows.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Fucking excellent.
It's not on Netflix.
It is. You have to watch that right now.
I thought it was like I looked. I don't.
Unless they took it off Netflix, it was on Netflix.
That would be shitty of them. Oh, it might be on Amazon Prime.
I mean, I have Amazon Prime too. But...
It's also on Amazon Prime. I'm certain of it.
Hold on. What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on Netflix. Check Prime.
Fucking great
see?
movie.
It's not on Netflix. I wasn't insane.
Check Prime.
All right, hold on. Let me get onto Amazon here.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Prime.
Video.
What We Do in the Shadows.
While Webby's doing that, I'm gonna go to the next one.
And this is just a movie, right? It's not a TV show or anything.
No, this is a movie.
Correct.
It's fucking perfect. I love that movie.
It is on Prime.
It is on Prime.
All
right, so I can watch this still. I was very intrigued when I watched the trailer and I thought it was hilarious and I really wanted to watch it. And you were like, yeah, dude, it's on Netflix. And I checked, it wasn't there. And then I just forgot the name of it and I never talked to you about it again.
It's great.
It is. Next one you have drama. I'm not even gonna count that in there. Like horror mixed with like real human emotions.
Horror drama.
Like a horror drama.
Can you at least give me an example of this? This sounds dumb.
I'm about to think about it myself. Okay, the Babadook. That makes sense.
That's a drama. Well, all right.
That is kind of a drama.
But I actually liked
it.
I didn't mind that. Yeah, I liked
Quiet
that movie.
Place. 10 Cloverfield Lane is kind of like a suspense drama.
Well,
The Sixth Sense is kind of a horror movie, Ash. Not really, kind
I
of.
mean, it had some scary shit.
It's classified under horror movie.
The dude
And then
was
you have
dead
like
the whole
Hereditary. You have Hereditary. M. Night Shyamalan, best plot hook ever. And then he's like, oh, hey, plot twists are what we need in movies. And then it's like, no, and he never succeeded again. But that's I could do a whole issue on it.
Telling you, man.
On the shit that is M. Night Shyamalan.
The fucking alien in the alleyway scared the piss out of me.
All right, next one's body horror. Human Centipede, anybody?
Never seen it.
Don't.
I'll pass.
Human Centipede.
What about
what was
Teeth?
that? What was it? Kevin James? Tusk. Fucking Tusk. That was another one where basically
Kevin Smith. Yeah.
Kevin Smith, yeah, not Kevin James. He fucking sews him up into like a walrus suit. It's
What?
fucked up.
I want to see this.
No, you don't.
I kind of do.
Hold on.
I know there's a movie that Kevin Smith helped that he made or whatever with, and his daughter's in it. That's the Canadian one. There, it had Nazis in it. I know that.
There you go, Webby.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I don't like the look of that walrus. I'm all set.
It's a human. He sewed him into like a skin suit to make him into a walrus. It's fucked up.
Gross.
Yeah, we don't want to partake in that. But yeah, he did Kevin Smith. The first horror movie they did was called Red State, and John Goodman was in it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. But yeah, he did the other one with his daughter, and I think it happens in the Tuskiverse.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I know
like,
that one's on Netflix.
What, Tusk?
No, the other one that I'm thinking of.
The other one. Gotcha.
Up in the Canadian wilderness or whatever.
Yeah.
I brought it up to Devin, wanted to do it for one of these, but technically it was a horror comedy. And I was like, I don't want to take the cheap road out of it being a comedy.
Yoga Hosers.
Yoga Hosers, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh shit, Tusk is on here too. Damn it.
Yep.
I don't want to watch Tusk.
Well, would Teeth fall under this one, Devin?
Maybe. Let me see. I haven't seen Teeth in so long.
I haven't seen Teeth at all, but I was intrigued.
It's a horror comedy film. I'm trying to see what is the synopsis of Teeth.
So, for those of you out there listening who don't know
who
don't know what Teeth is, Ross, do you know what Teeth is?
Oh yeah,
yes.
fucking yeah.
Do.
It would. Fucking, you're right. Yeah, that was fucking vagina dentata.
Yeah, her vagina eats people.
I mean, it is what it is. It's not wrong. It's not. I mean, it's not a horror movie if it's true.
Who's that guy in the picture that you sent with the weird fucking walrus?
That's the guy that sews him in the suit.
I know, but who is it? You know who that looks like? That looks like the dude Walter White there.
It does look like Walter. I think it is him actually.
Is that really Bryan Cranston?
Bryan Cranston, that's his name. Yeah.
Hold on.
I don't like Tusk Man.
I don't
like
Tusk
looking
Man.
at Tusk Man.
I don't either. But if Bryan Cranston's in the movie, I don't know. I might. No, I still probably won't.
I've seen the movie. It's not good. It's not worth
probably
watching.
Still won't. No, I can't. Can we? You know what? Oh, I can't.
Can we make it go away?
Oh, thank you.
It's gone. Okay.
Whew. No, it's Michael Parks, I think.
I'll watch that movie.
Just the name of that fucking movie. It's repetitive.
Frankly, like anything in space, like I'll probably take a shot at.
You should watch. Make sure you watch the trailer.
Yeah, it's Michael Parks.
Oh, all right.
Help me. Who's Michael Parks?
He was in From Dusk Till Dawn. He was in Red State. He was in Kill Bill.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Any of those things, but he was there. He existed.
All right. I mean, do we have more genre? Like, how many more genres?
I got a couple more.
Right.
I'll go through them quick. Torture porn. Saw, Hostel. All that
No,
fun
see,
stuff.
like
the
Saw,
first Saw. The first Saw movie I liked.
The first Saw was really good. The first and second Hostel were actually really good.
I could not finish the first Hostel movie. I got to the point where he cut the dude's Achilles tendon, and then as soon as he stood up to walk away and you see it split, shut it off. I was like, nah, I can't.
Nope.
I'm good. I don't need to know any more about the lollipop gang outside of little kids who are going to fucking kill you. And no, I'm all set. But the first Saw movie, I liked it. I liked the twist at the end. I appreciated the movie for what it was.
Yep.
And then they made like 19 more, and I was like, no, I'm good. I saw the first one.
Yeah.
I get the point of all the other ones.
Well, it like the first one had like a lot of psychological elements to it. Whereas like as soon as I watched the second one, it's like this isn't doing it for me.
Yeah, I agree. Next is up is home invasion movies.
Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
I think, what is it, The Strangers? No. Yeah, Hush is one. Keep Watching. The Strangers. Yeah, I was right. Knock Knock. That's a good one.
What about that Christmas one with Kevin McAllister?
Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That was definitely a home invasion movie.
Yep.
What the hell's the name of that movie?
I don't know. Last House on the Left. That's a home invasion
That
movie.
wasn't the name of it.
No, that was a home invasion movie.
Kevin Gets Robbed. Was that it?
Nah, I really don't know. I really don't know the name of the movie now.
You better watch out. No.
Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern get.
He's at the door. No.
Keep the change, you filthy animal. Was that what it was called?
I mean, no, there was a line in there. Okay, Ross, you're fucking with me now. You know the name of the movie.
I got it. One large cheese pizza just for me.
God damn it, Ross.
Right? Wait, no. I remember what it is.
I don't want to Google it. I refuse to Google this.
This. I remember what it is. It's this. It goes like this.
No, shut up.
No? Oh.
God damn it.
I don't know. You know what? Eventually, like after we
Home Alone.
Recording, I was gonna say after we finish recording and I'm home alone, I'll remember what it is.
Home Alone. I kept wanting to say Home Improvement, but I was like, no, that was a TV show. I like that one. God, that took way too long.
Webby, I'm gonna bring that full circle real quick. So you were thinking Christmas movie and Home Alone. Then you Home Improvement played with Tim Allen, who played the Santa Claus. Boom!
And I'll go one step further. Christmas is horrifying to me, and it's my Halloween. I will go
one step further. We talked about Kevin Bacon earlier, and that's your 5 Degrees Kevin Bacon. I'm done. Boom. There we go.
Bam.
Okay. Stir of Echoes. Kevin Bacon. Horror movie, psychological and ghost, all in one.
Sure,
I like it.
It was good. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie.
I like Macaulay Culkin in that. Wasn't he in that Good Son movie? That was a fucked up movie.
Was that the one where he got killed by bees?
No, that was fucking. That was the love story fucking movie. He was in love with that girl, and then he got fucking stung by all those bees and died.
Where he was in love with the bees, like it was the forbidden love. It was like Romeo and Juliet.
No, I forget the name of this movie too. All right, and it's like an iconic movie. I know that. God damn it, Ross! Stop picking on me. You yelled at me earlier. Now you're picking on me.
It's Home Improvement 2: Escape from New York.
No, Home Improvement 2.
Fucking My Girl.
Yes, My Girl. That's the one. God damn it, Ross. You're fired. You're fired.
Without his glasses.
Home Improvement 2: Escape from New York.
I'm gonna bring this full circle. The bees that killed him, they were actually Candyman.
Candyman, yes.
No.
That was a brutal crossover.
Yeah.
The
All right.
most brutalist crossover.
God damn this episode.
He killed the white boy because he couldn't be with the white woman he loved.
God damn it. All right, we gotta end the episode there. That's. I can't do it. I can't deal with any more. Devin broke me. God damn it. I can't stop.
Oh.
My stomach hurts. The fuck?
Oh God. Oh.
Damn it! Goose Fraba. Breathe. God damn it.
Oh man.
Oh God.
He's got so much honey, the bees envy him.
Oh.
Ah,
Oh. That was good.
that was good.
All right. Well, okay. I don't care how many more genres you got on your list.
No, that was the last one. We're good.
We're sitting at an hour and 45 minutes right now
That's fine.
a power
on a
episode.
Cube episode.
This is two. This is clearly 2 episodes.
I wish I knew we were going to get off on this second tangent of genre making, because I would have cut it and recorded a second episode.
Let's just record. Let's cut it anyway. We'll record.
Nope.
We'll record 2 endings.
Nope. I'm not doing any editing. That's work.
Because then my callbacks won't work. Depending
That's
on the
right.
callbacks.
That's right.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Not to mention a little behind the scenes here. It's Thursday evening. You guys get this Friday morning at 1:01, which means as soon as we're done, I have to edit or I have to post this.
Yes. And
So-
I just would like to go on a record and officially saying, because everybody's so sensitive nowadays, no little white boys were harmed in the making of these episodes.
Well, except the one who got killed by a bunch of bees.
By a bunch of bees.
But he's okay. They made him my girl too. He wasn't in it, but they made him my girl too.
He wasn't in it because he was dead.
on account of the bees.
I like to think his dad. I like to think he's in heaven now, and his dad's like, "So, son, are you ready for that birds and the bees talk?" And he's just like, "Fuck you, dad."
Dad.
Also,
Yeah,
too,
seriously.
bringing this back around, my girl, Jamie Lee Curtis is my girl. She played in Halloween.
Bam,
Yes.
There
Connected.
you go.
bam. Ah, little fucking white kid. God damn it.
Oh. Yep.
Bringing it back around. He was a little white kid. Oh, Jesus, there he is. He wears his glasses. He can't see without his glasses. He's dead in a coffin with a bunch of bee stings. Fucker. Anyway, he's a little white kid, and Michael Myers was also a little white kid at one point.
Hey, there you go.
There we
There
go.
you go.
My
And-
God.
And look who made it out. Look who made it out alive to see a second movie.
Nope. No. No.
No.
You're not looking at the same fucking chat. I'm looking at the Discord right now. Devin's
Oh,
posting
my
Macaulay
God.
Culkin.
Oh my God! Jesus, where's his glasses? He can't see without his glasses. Man, the
Wow, his life really went downhill after that movie, huh?
the funeral home did a really shitty job on that kid. Couldn't they have done something to cover up those bee stings? Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they could have done a better job.
That's why the aftershave burned so much.
Oh, there's all those open sores from the bees. God damn it!
Oh my God. How'd he die?
Oh.
Face herpes. Ah.
I have been seeing that cute couple's costume ideas going around with
That second one. Oh my god, that guy is covered in so many bees.
Oh man, what is that from? Is that from
Oh
the
god.
the movie with the thing and in the man?
Oh my god.
No, that's actual footage from Macaulay Culkin and My Girl.
Oh man, that movie was brutal.
No
Oh,
bees
shit.
were harmed in the making of this movie, but a little boy
That
died.
is true.
But Macaulay Culkin's career was.
Oh.
Oh god,
Oh my god.
All right.
that is beautiful.
Well, I'm glad we're ending on the death of Macaulay Culkin in My Girl. All right, so that's all we're gonna do for our episode this week. It's been quite the episode. I apologize. I apologize to all those listeners who normally only have an hour or an hour and a half to listen to these, and you got to listen to another extra 28 minutes. But suck it up, Buttercup.
This is a gift from the SU gods.
Yeah,
that they have been granted.
we don't go over an hour and a half very often on SU. We're actually pretty good about keeping it there, or sometimes a little shorter.
Mhm.
But on the episodes that we do go over, there's fucking good reason why we do. So
Yes.
live with it, people.
If you stopped, you wouldn't have got all that Macaulay Culkin gold.
That's right. If you honestly have a problem that
you
we
wouldn't have got all that Macaulay Culkin honey.
Oh God! All right, you're fired. All right. So Ross, where can people find you on the internet?
RossMalcolmBoyd.com is probably the best place to go.
All right. Devin, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You guys can find me at DMP_Pookie on Twitter.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Jax Forest Walker, all one word. On Twitch at DM Webby. On Instagram at Patrick.Webster52.
Webster52.
Oh, I remembered it.
Yeah.
That's because I wrote it down at the beginning of the episode, and I'm referencing it now.
Less sad, but that's okay.
It was professional of you to write it down, but unprofessional of you to
not remember it.
Admit it.
Oh,
Admit it.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, anyway, thank you guys for doing this episode with me and going a little extra long, and thank you listeners for hopefully enjoying it. And if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, feel free to write us in either at simplyunprofessional@gmail.com or post it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/simplyunprofessional. I don't know how websites work. And if you didn't like the episode, fuck you. No one cares. Whatever. Join Booster Gold. # fuck whoever doesn't like this episode.
Hey.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. That was just a little. I mean, that was a little harsh, but like.
You know what's harsh is that me and Devin have been on this quest. Okay, a quest. How often in people's lives do they actually get a fucking quest, Ross? Like literally, an old man with a beard approached me and Devin at Gen Con, and he was like, "You need to go on a quest," and then we were like, "All right, where?" He's like, "You do a podcast," and we were like, "Yeah, okay, we're with you so far." And he's like, "You need to get listeners in Russia." It's like, well, all right, we're trying, bud. Don't worry. No listeners in Russia yet. Me and Devin, we're gonna outlevel this quest, and we're not gonna get XP when we finally do get that fucking Russian listener.
It's true.
You know, so yeah, we need your help, listeners.
So get on it.
Get us to Russia. I look almost every week. Okay, we've gotten to France. We have one in, I think, Germany now. You're fucking right next door. You know, what the fuck? Literally, walk over to Russia, download an episode, and fucking walk your ass back.
I don't know if it works that way.
I'm gonna guess that it does because otherwise, I don't know how I got Philippine downloads without Kurt going to the Philippines and downloading SU. I think it works that way. I don't know. I might lie. Anyway,
he might have just talked about how great the show is. And,
it's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how I got the Kenyan listeners we do. Thank you, Kenya. I love you guys. Just so you know.
Great show, and people with great taste tune in.
I guess so. But seriously, anybody out there listening, if you have family in Russia, if you have friends who live in Russia, if you play video games on Xbox and your friend is in Russia, who you play fucking Call of Duty or whatever fucking stupid game you play.
Look. Even if you fucking have to like go like the spam bot route and fucking like send a fucking chain email with SU attached to it, that's fine.
Yeah, I just want that one fucking download in
One
Russia.
is all you need.
Okay.
We just want to be the first podcast to have downloaders in every country. That's not true. That's already happened, but fuck it. It's no. It's true for me, damn it. It's true for me.
Right.
And Devin, what are you gonna do if I come to you one day and I say, Devin, we finally got the one download in Russia. And not only did we get the one download in Russia, it was downloaded by a fucking Russian bear.
Downloaded by a Russian bear.
Which we've already established in a previous episode that has not been released because I fucked up. Russian bears are the biggest fucking bears. Like, they're fucking humongous.
I think if that happened, you would have to stop the podcast.
No, if that happens, we have to stop the podcast here, and I have to move to Russia. I have to become Russian now.
Right. Because I don't think you can go beyond. I think that's the peak. And anything that you do beyond that is just going to be down. You know?
I just have to go to Russia now and like just go live in Russia. I have to podcast from Russia now. That's
So I don't know. Maybe we want to prevent this from happening. Maybe we want to prevent Russian listeners.
See, I was going the opposite direction that you guys went. You guys are talking about stopping the podcast or just dropping everything you're doing and moving far, far away to a country that's probably very cold all the time.
It is.
I don't like any of that idea.
You drink a lot of vodka.
What do you mean we? You're not there yet. We haven't gotten the one Russian bear download. But I was thinking if for some reason we do get that one Russian download and it happens to come from a bear, I don't know how I'll be able to tell, but I'll just know. Then me and Devin will have to dress up in bear costumes and fucking Jello wrestle.
I thought we were just gonna dress in bear costumes and fuck, but I mean that's fine too.
No, that's if we get that $1 million mark and we get married.
Okay, so I tell you what,
that's still on the table. If we get $1 million in Patreon, me and Devin are getting married.
Yep.
I would watch that show.
Us getting married or us Jello wrestling in bear costumes?
Why not both?
Yes.
All I can say is, Devin, get prepared to get fucking pedigreed. Okay?
That's fine.
I've been watching the WWFs or WWEs.
I'm slippery.
This would literally be the WWF and WWE because it would be the World Wildlife Foundation while wrestling.
We can get them to sponsor it.
That's right.
Bam. They sponsor it for. They sponsor our Jello wrestling for bear safety.
So there we go.
Isn't that the crossover everybody wanted anyway?
Yes. It's that you guys have all seen it. It's that WWF T-shirt of the panda bear holding the fucking chair like he's gonna fucking hit you, like in wrestling. Okay, everyone's seen that shirt. If you haven't, Google it. If you can't find it on Google, it's probably because I'm making it up. Maybe I don't know.
I want to see that panda bear and Mankind in Hell in the Cell.
All right, but ultimately, what I'm trying to get at is, listeners, we love you. We love the fact that you listen. You take time out of your day to enjoy something that we do for fun for you guys. If you want to see me and Devin wrestle in a pool of Jello, and not one of these stupid little kiddie pools, like we'll talk like full on fucking like 4 feet deep fucking pool of Jello, in bear costumes, get us that fucking Russian download. That's all.
It's not hard.
It's really not that hard. You guys must know somebody.
Everybody knows Russian.
Listen, it's like that 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. Somebody who you know knows somebody in another country who knows somebody, and eventually you guys know a Russian. That's all. Anyway.
Yep.
Okay. So other than that, thank you again for listening, and as always, fuck Booster Gold.
With bees!
Go.
With bees.
Let me get the bee sting on his taint.
Ah, man, I hate it when I get a swollen taint.
Bee taint.
It's always the worst.
Can a bee sting another bee in the taint?
Do bees have taints?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Oh.
I don't know.
All right, next episode we're gonna interview a bee, see if they have taints.
What I really want to know is how come there's no bee-sized batteries?